And I got a bubble in my throat. And
Oh.
we're live. Welcome to Strikeout Beer Podcast, your least favorite podcast. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD. What's up?
That bubble just like aggressively attacked me. Like I feel violated is what I feel. It's definitely how I feel because of that bubble.
There's something wrong with you.
You know what? There's something wrong with you.
Maybe.
Like, we'll get into it a little bit, but at a certain point in time yesterday, you had turned into a dog. Like,
what's that mean?
You were growling at me like a freaking dog. Like,
it was a long day.
Not just that, but like you were sizing me up. Like you staring me up and down, like you're getting ready to take me down, and you start growling at me. And I look at you, I go, "Don't you even think about it? Don't you even?" And then you kept punching me in the leg. I was like, "Mother."
Tagged that phone a couple times. That hurt. Yeah, we were having a little bit of fun. Having fun. Yeah, it's all fun. Let's just screwing around, having a good time. You know, luckily no one got hurt either. You know, like tripping. You know, you start tripping, your buddies are doing goofy stuff or stepping on their shoes or whatever.
You kept kicking the bottom of my feet as I'm walking. You're walking behind me, kept kicking the bottom of my feet.
Yeah.
You almost fell down the escalator.
It's pretty close. Pretty close.
And luckily, I caught you, to which you then proceeded to tell everybody for the next 2 hours that I tried to throw you down the escalator. So, and that's when I started lining. I wasn't behind you. You're like, dude, you need to move over here. I was like, no, you're going to fall. I'm just going to let you fall. I was like, hopefully that lady catches you, but I ain't catching you.
Escalators are weird. And we talked about, too, like having to walk up or down an escalator that is not working.
Oh,
and like
my
your
God.
Mind can't just make it work. It doesn't work.
It throws everything off. It's just, I don't know, man.
You have to look up and like not pay attention to what you're doing.
No, you can't look at
Yeah, because if not, you're going to just get thrown like all over the place. It's not going to work out well. It's going to
start getting dizzy and just my whole equilibrium's thrown off. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, it ain't right. It's not right.
Anyways, we took a day trip to Vegas. I know we've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. The day was finally upon us. So yesterday we got up, head to the airport at like 5. What time did our flight leave? 6:30?
Yes.
Something like that. So anyways, we catch an early red eye, or whatever, early flight, 6:30, and head to Vegas, land about 7. Day trip, right? We actually leave Vegas at like 11:55 p.m. to get back to Dallas. We were gone for, essentially from my house. When I left that day, I didn't get back to 24 hours later, essentially. And it was a long day.
So I had fun when I went to go try and leave. So I go and I walk up to Skylink. Well, Skylink's down for maintenance. And so I'm like, because I had to go to it because they changed our gate when we left after I got to the airport. Like I got to the airport, it said gate D. I go to gate D. I get there and I'm sitting there like, hey, you here yet? I go, yeah, I'm sitting over here. You're like, no, you're not. You're like, I'm over here. I've walked. You're like, I walked by gate E26 or whatever it was several times. I don't see your fat head. And I'm like, well, that's because we're at D. And you're like, yeah, you might want to look at that again. I was, son of a, thanks for the notification. Didn't get a notification, and so had to jump on. It didn't take me. It took me 5 minutes to get over there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Skylink was down, and so you had to walk over by where Skylink was, and there was a guy sitting there, and he's like, "You trying to get to another terminal?" I was like, "Yeah, I got to get the D, man." He goes, "All right, well, there's a bus is going to be coming by here in about 10-15 minutes, and we'll take you over there." So like, he's like, "I got to take you down." So I go down the service elevator, walk out on the tarmac. We're out there on the tarmac where all the planes and stuff are. Yeah.
Were you really?
Oh yeah. And got on a bus, and the bus took before it was funny because like he stops before he gets to a plane like that's right there, right? Just to make sure they're not backing up or anything. And he hits his horn a couple times like the pilot's going to hear him, right? Like beep, beep. Oh, hold on. We got someone back there. Let's not back up yet. Right. But yeah. And so they took the bus to Terminal D, and I feel bad for someone who was if you were in like A, B, or C, because E is off on its own, and the other terminals are all connected. So, like, they took you to D and then let you out there, and then you had to walk to
Oh,
your gate. Yeah.
oh, bro, that sucks.
So,
I stayed behind, once you off because I knew you were parked somewhere else. I would have said bye anyways. I wasn't
right.
just gonna get off the
Yeah.
plane and run away. But I was like, "You want to ride? Like, I'll take you right over there, no problem." It's early in the morning. I don't even know if the damn thing runs at that time. You know what I mean? And obviously it was under for maintenance. But yeah, I was like, "Oh, I'll give you a lift over there." And then you're like, "No, no, no, it's fine. I'm right there outside of Skylings." All right, man. I'll see you. So
Yeah.
how long after you got off the plane did you finally get home?
Oh, man. I probably didn't get home till, like, I got home about 5:30.
Oh,
So,
Jesus.
about an hour well, more than an hour because we were supposed to land at, like, 4:40, and I think we landed shortly after 4. Like, but
That's sick.
walk over there, and, like, at that point in time, like, I didn't get anything to drink before we left, and I didn't get anything to drink on the air because it was like $4 for a bottle of water on the airplane. I just planned on sleeping. Well, I couldn't fall asleep. I slept maybe 15 minutes, and then the rest of the time I was awake, and so my mouth is just so dry. And I knew I had some water in my car and stuff. I had some stuff in my car to drink, but I'm there, and he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be about another 10, 15 minutes, man." I'm like, well, there's a Wendy's right there next to where I was, so I went to Wendy's and got something to drink because my mouth was just so dry at that point in time. But yeah, it was like 5:30 before I got home, so I was just like, yeah,
I just cruised onto the house, easy peasy. The dog was out there on the hanging out in the living room, waiting on us to get home. I guess she knew I was on my way, and
yeah,
yeah. And so I was like, "All right, you want to go outside for a minute?" And hung out there for a second, took a shower, crashed, done. I mean, I did wake up at like 8 something, just because the dog kind of stirred. I was like,
right,
"We're going back to bed, babe. We ain't getting up." And so she let us sleep till like 11. I was like, "Ooh, it was a long ass day," and
cool,
this is I put in the post. I was like, this is our last one of 2024, and we haven't been on a day trip in a while. It's been one of those like Lizzie and I went on one earlier this year, which was horrible. It was the worst time. Frontier, I'll say this: they redeemed themselves from the last time. The last time the flight was delayed, and it was just kind of like it was just an annoying situation. And then it was so hot in Vegas and stuff like that. It was just it's a weird day, but
right.
you know, pretty smooth trip, dude. Out there, we left early. I think you went to sleep as soon as you got on the plane. I didn't hear a peep out of you.
I was just sitting. Well, I had turned because I was kind of laying my head back, so I
Mhm.
had already put it like pretty shortly after we got on the plane. I threw it in airplane mode because I expected to fall asleep. I had downloaded an episode of Joe Rogan to listen to, and then but I think I fell asleep just before we took off, and then shortly after we were in the air, like, right when he's like, "Oh, we're turning off the fasten seatbelt sign, you're free to get up and move around," and I was just up, like,
Really?
I just could not fall back asleep, like, it was ugh,
It does
but
suck because you want to get some. I tried to sleep on the way up there, and I think I was excited a little bit. Just a little bit excited, and you see the sun coming up though. It looked gorgeous because by the time I kind of started, like, all right, I'll look out the window, and we were already over like Nevada and whatever. It's just you see, and then you see the Grand Canyon and whatnot. Looked really cool. So smooth flight, only couple bumps. Staff was friendly. Everybody was nice. Got to spread out a little bit because I was towards the back of the plane. You and Lizzie were towards the front. That is one
yeah,
thing. I'll tell you, if you're flying Frontier, you have to know that if it's asking you if you want to pick your seat or whatever, that's the time to do it. If you want to sit with the people you're booking a ticket with, I did it in the last review of or last travel with Frontier. They
right,
will shotgun y'all all over the place.
yeah,
They don't care, and the whole back of the plane can be empty, and everybody's jammed in the front. It's weird. It's nut to butt like the first 30 rows, and then after that,
right,
there's wide open. So the lady came over and was like, "Hey, it's wide open from road 31. You listen in 31 and back. You guys can spread out." So you had people going and just taking up a whole row. That's what I did. I was sitting on the aisle and I was like, you know what? I want to see what's going on in the window. I was like, and I get to lay my head up against the window. But super easy flight. And we got there, hit the ground running, went to Denny's, of course, got some breakfast. That's what we always talk about, what we do, and it's what we did.
yeah,
It's a cab ride. Sometimes it kind of sucks. Lizzie was bitching that the guy stunk to holy hell. And I'm like, I'm not really paying attention. It's not
right.
that
I
crazy and
didn't smell
overbearing.
anything, but
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but Did that, then guess what? ABC store right next to it, beer time, and then let's start walking. And of
Yep.
course, I think the first one we pumped into was it's the Caesars property. What is it? Is it Bally's or no? Planet Hollywood, something like that.
Something like
Yeah.
that. I don't remember. No, I
Lizzie
think
sits
Planet
down.
Hollywood's a little bit further down the
Yeah, it must be Bally's then. And it was kind of weird because there's a massive gap between hotels now because they're doing like a lot of
a lot.
remodeling,
Yeah.
and it
I
was like
don't ever remember that.
it was crazy. So the right side as you're heading north, it just luckily we got to that one. It's right next to the Miracle Mile. It's attached to it,
Right.
and so yeah, Lizzie sits down, bam, hit wins money immediately. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I mean, we go try to play craps, or we played roulette as well. She's sitting there screwing around, and we're like, you know what? Let's start moving about, get some more beers, and just keep walking. And we hit damn near every hotel or every casino
Yeah.
up and down the strip. I think the only one we didn't get back to was like Mandalay Bay, but um, we got our White Castle in. Yeah,
Always gotta get the White Castle in. Almost went twice. Because we went back by it a second time later in the day, and you're like, "Should we get some White Castle?" I was like, "Well, you were pretty excited about that pizza we are gonna get here in a minute." You're like, "That's right, we're getting pizza." Um, so we got a little pizza later in the day, but I mean, we had it was a fun trip, right? Um, not a ton of gambling, we did a little bit. We had a couple tables that we sat at for a little bit, but for the most part, we were just kind of doing a lot of walking, a lot of people watching, just chilling, enjoying ourselves. We had a There was a brief moment where you didn't understand the situation that was going on, and this was towards the end, and this was when you were in prime form, and we were in the bathroom, and right by us there was some dude that was just trashed out of his mind in the
really.
stall. Like, security was there watching him in the bathroom, had the door open, right? While this guy's going pee, but he's going pee like, little kid style, where he's got his pants around his ankles as he's standing up
Yeah.
in the stall, and like you were barking or growling or something at me at that point in time, and security they look over and they see you and they're watching you, and I see a guy tap another one and point at you, and that's when we came out of the bathroom. I look at it and go, lock it up now. And you're like, don't tell me what to do. I go, dude, lock it up. Security's watching you. Chill out.
Which hotel was that?
Oh, I don't
You
remember.
remember?
It was. I want to say it was. I can't remember where
It's
we
a
were
rough
at that
Tuesday,
point.
man. Everybody was just partying a little too
Yeah,
hard.
but it was. And I'm looking at you, and like, so we're out and we're walking. I'm like, we got to find Lizzie. We're leaving. Like, we're going to the next hotel. We're going, and you're like, Lizzie's not going anywhere. I already know it. And I'm like, she's going.
We must have been
And
at Caesars. That's where it was.
it was, yeah. Everyone we walked in after 3, yeah, dude. And so it was, and so we're looking for him, and the security guy's following us and
Oh,
watching you. And I'm telling, like, and you're growling at me, and I'm like, dude, cut the shit out. We're about ready to get tossed. Let's just stop. Let's just
we're on
play
our
it.
way out anyways. What do we
And
care?
so I think at one point in time, though, like, we were like weaving in between, I just don't want to get tossed, right?
Yeah,
Because it's gonna kill the whole vibe, the whole momentum.
yeah.
It's gonna he's kicking us out, sir. I got to go find his wife. And at this point in time, Lizzie's Apple Watch had died, so she wasn't getting any of her notifications on her phone because her phone was in her bag, and so it's loud in there, so she can't hear it going off. The slot machines are loud, so she couldn't hear it going off, so she never knew when we were calling her or texting her. And so I'm just trying to get. And at one point, we're like kind of weaving in and out. I think we lost him, so I was just like, okay. I turned. I was like, okay, I think we lost him. And then that's when we found. I was like, okay. I went up to Lizzie. It wasn't because every time we went up to her, it was like, hey, are you ready to go? This was one where I go, hey, it's time to go.
We gotta go.
We gotta go. We gotta go. But yeah, no, it was just like that. But yeah, the dude, they saw there was 2 security guards in there watching that guy. That guy was, I mean, he made you look sober, but the fact that you were growling and barking at me like a dog while we're at the urinal definitely caught their attention. Um,
God. Yeah, that's on the way back. I mean, on the way up there, I think I was behaving. I it lasted as
oh,
good as I could do. We went all the way from MGM Grand. That's the one of the furthest ones down, south, and we went all the way up to the Wynn and Encore.
Yeah.
and then we crossed over, and then we hit Treasure Island and started making our way south. It did suck to see. I've said it a million times as well. It's just like the Mirage is no longer the Mirage. It's being remodeled, tore down for the most part. I mean, I doubt they tear down the actual hotel. I don't know, but it says what was the signs outside, the Hard Rock or
Yeah. It's gonna be Hard Rock.
yeah, Hard Rock. So it's a tough, and it's a big property. So when you're walking and you have to walk by it, it's a haul. It's a bit of a haul. So by the time you get to Caesars, like, all right, I need a drink.
Right.
Time to party. But we didn't. When we left Caesars, I think we left in a cab. Oh no, we went to Bellagio. We went over to Bellagio, and then we caught a cab, went down to New York. Because again, walking past like REI and Cosmo and whatnot,
Yeah.
it's a long walk. Long walk.
Slap staying at the Rio in April.
That's a cool place. That's where they usually host the WSOP. At least they have like over the last like I don't know 30 years. I expected to stay the same, but it's off the strip. It's on its own little area, but I like it. It's a cool place.
There was I can't remember which one we were at, but they had the World Poker Tour had an event going on. And when
Yep.
it had a huge event going on, and they had signs up saying, hey, recording in progress, don't walk by. If you walk by, you might be in it, blah, blah, blah. Right. So that was pretty cool to kind of see that. They had a big old event going on. There was a rodeo in town too that been there for like a week already. That was there for another half a week or something.
Yeah. The poker tournament was up at Encore. I mean, they had half the floor, taken out of that place. It was really neat. And then NFR, if I'm not mistaken, was the rodeo. Buddy, you want to talk about it? Looked like the stockyards. Everybody there had a black cowboy hat on and their Wranglers and their boots and all that kind of stuff. And it was busy.
And we knew something was going on when we were getting on the plane, because when we were leaving here and getting on the plane, the amount of cowboy hats that were being worn and yeehaw cowboys, not we suck cowboys, was absurd. Like, I want to say 30% of the plane had cowboy hats on. Like 1 out of every 3 people was wearing one. Like,
Yeah, kinda, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. It was a ton. There was like an absurd amount, more than I've seen ever on an airplane before, right?
enough to where you're like, what the is going on here? Why don't
It's
I have a cowboy hat?
yeah,
Were
it's
they passing?
noticeable.
Did I go through the wrong security gate and I didn't get one? Like,
They're giving them out. There you go. Howdy.
only the first 100 people on the plane got one. I known I would have shown up earlier.
It's like I said, I said it looked like the stockyards. I mean, that's we live in Texas, over in Fort Worth. That's completely common. Where half the people have a cowboy get up on and whatnot. But yeah, no, the rodeo was in town, huge crowds. Especially at MGM, we noticed it more at MGM than we did anywhere else.
They had a big sign out front, MGM. Welcome NFR rodeo people.
Yeah, he even had a big old cowboy hat on the lion. It was neat. It was cool to see. I wouldn't mind to go pop in and check it out, but it was at the convention center. So, I was actually looking up stuff for us, and like maybe we can catch like a day hockey game or something, but there's really nothing really going on. It's just a bland old Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, I just had to make the most out of it.
Yeah. Whiskey, what does a truck driver and a porn star have in common? They both get paid by the load. What's up, you sexy nutsacks?
And I went ahead and pulled up the Rio. It's over there. It's on the other side of 15, right? So where like Caesars and Bellagio and all that kind of stuff. It's behind those properties across the highway.
Okay.
And the cool thing is that there's actually a handful. You have Rio, then Gold Coast, and then the Palms, and you can kind of walk to those. So you got a little cluster of casinos that you can kind of hang out if you don't want to be on the strip and you want to stay over in the Rio. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's a short car ride or Uber to the strip from Rio. It's a good location because you don't have to really pay, the premium to being on the strip, but you're close enough, right?
Right.
So yeah.
They said, yeah, I want to stay off the strip during WrestleMania weekend. It's going to be hell.
I
But it's
mean,
also going to be fun. Like, now stay off it, but make sure you go walk down the strip. Have some fun, man.
Yeah,
But
the people are wild. People watching. If you've never been before, people watching in Vegas is one of the cool things to do. Kind of like, especially at nighttime. Like you say, I mean, how many times did we just say we're going to go outside? Like we were just, well, we're going to go get some sun, see what's up, have a beer, and just watch the crazies walk by with a giant boa constrictor around them or whatever, giant snake, or this dude had 2 macaws out there. I mean, anything could happen. These people are weird. And then we saw Elvis I see him about every time I go.
Fat Elvis in a cart.
I wasn't gonna say Fat Elvis. I almost said Fat Elvis. I didn't want to say it though. But yeah, he was just sitting there
Call what it was.
he sounded like
It's
an
like being a
86
car trying to
Pinto.
start in cold weather. Like you're trying to turn that car over, but it's not quite. Just not quite. It's not quite turning over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slap. I'm in Vegas a couple times. It was good fun. It is. It is. Make sure you get yourself some White Castle while you're there, sir.
Oh
It's
yeah.
over there by Harrah's.
Yep. So, but yeah, all in all, good time. I didn't win. I don't know if I won. I don't think I won any money. I think I
No,
lost like 100 or two, but um, there was nothing crazy. Like, oh God, I just got rolled out there.
yeah,
So
no, I don't take a ton of money with me. Like I ended up getting a little bit more money because I didn't have a lot of cash with me to start with, and then at a certain point it was still real early in the day, and I was like, I'd like to have a little bit more money, and I had it, so it was like, yeah, okay. But I didn't win anything, but I never go expecting to win, right? Um, and we did things a little bit differently. Like I sat down, I'd never played craps before. So we were sitting down at the craps, the machines. We weren't at the actual tables with everybody. But we were there at the machines having had a good time, you know. We always have a good time.
yeah,
It's always fun. Um,
we spent some time at that horse racing machine too, which was really
yeah,
fun.
that was pretty cool.
And if you hit, obviously, if you're winning, you can stay there a bit longer. But if you're losing, like, Jesus, I'm just pumping money. But it's not like you're betting a lot either. We're betting a pretty good amount. And if we have a
For
waitress that, that'll
$50.
stop by,
Yeah,
you know, the craps machines, some of them we found were like the one that we go to, it's Casino Royale, and it's the
yeah,
dive casino, but I love
yep,
it. I love playing there. $3 minimums on like, craps and roulette and stuff like that. The beers are like $2 or $3. That's also, I think, a place that you can do draft beers. Sometimes they have them like 99 cents, but it's like a 10 ouncer or something like that.
Well, that's where they had the $3 beers,
Mhm.
in the $3 bottle beers there.
Yeah. They
Um,
raised their price. Yeah, but it's they got a sign there. I swear to God, it was there last time. I didn't see it this time though. But it's like 99-cent draft beers. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I'll take one. Nail it back. I'll take another, please. I was like,
Give me fine of your finest, sir. Here's a nice little 10 spot for you. You know, I'll spend $5 on beer. I'll tip you $5 on that. You give me 5 beers for $5. Yeah, here's 10.
yeah,
You know, um,
hell yeah. I do tip. That's one of my things. That's there's a lot of places that I don't. I'm just like, I'm not tipping anymore. If I'm standing up and ordering or something like that, but if I have a waitress that comes over and we're at a machine or we're at a table or something like that, and she's like, hey, can I get you? Yep. Can I have one of the, whatever? And if they give me grief about already having a drink in my hand or something, I was like, oh, I'll finish it by the time you get back, you know,
yeah,
and they might show up back, they might not, but if they do, I generally tip generously because I want them to come back again and keep that. We're gonna build a relationship immediately.
right. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. Whiskey said always tip.
Yeah, just a
Just the
tip, but
tip,
it still
but it still
counts.
counts. It still
Yeah,
counts. Yeah.
yeah,
But I feel like we spend a lot of time talking about things that weren't there anymore too. Like,
it's
because it's
changed.
it's 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 really changing. Like we're walking past, I was like, this is where Margaritaville was. Where's Margaritaville at? It's not there anymore. I get it, but hey,
They're putting more retail on that strip.
there's a lot of retail, a
Yeah,
lot.
a Puma
Um,
store, Adidas store. We didn't go back to Beard. What's the name of that place? I can't. Beer Dog. We didn't go back to or Brew
brew
Dog.
dog,
Yeah.
brew dog. Yeah,
What does it say? It says when in Vegas, take enough money for a rub and tug in the slot machines and beer, of course. Oh God. All right. But yeah, we didn't go back there. A lot of retail. There's a Target on the strip now, which is
yeah.
cool because you were able to get a sixer
I
of
grabbed,
athletic beer.
I grabbed a sixer of athletic, and just had that in the backpack. So I was walking around with that, and of course we always stop by, Walgreens, CVS, the ABC stores to get you get like 2 beers for like $8 or whatever it is. I think it's like $9 now. Uh, but doing that, but I mean it's always fun. A day is just enough time to just have fun, right? You go out there, you have fun. You don't have to worry about dealing with the hotel stuff, carry on luggage. Like I always take a backpack. I always have a backpack with me. Sometimes I'll pick up if I see any. Sometimes I'll walk through some of these stores and I see little souvenirs for the kiddos and things like that. But also I have it for because we get our beers because we don't typically sit at a table long enough for servers to come by and take a drink order from us and come back. We're kind of hit in and out, at a lot of the tables. So we grab some tall boys, throw them in the backpack. When we're ready for another one, they're right there. And in a day like yesterday, where it was cold, it was actually colder in Vegas than it was back here. The beer stayed cold.
Yeah.
We didn't have to worry about that. So
we're on the move quite a bit. We actually left Lizzie a couple times that she wasn't ready to leave. She was feeling the casino. We're like, yeah, we're kind of out of here. We're gonna head down and we'll let you know where we end up. And she's like, okay, whatever. And so she'd meet up with us. She met up with us it's not the Cromwell. What was that other place? The D? I don't know.
it was Casino Royale's where she.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the horse racing thing when we left that other one.
Yeah.
And so, then we left that, moved on from there. And then she wanted to stay at like Harris or whatever it was a little bit longer. It's like, all right, we're going to walk. We're out of here. We're moving.
Star's in the house. I like tall boys. Tall boys are good.
Yeah. What's up there? How you doing, Sean? Good to see you.
Elephant leg ones. Not your normal ones.
I do like those. And, that's funny because it used to be, it was cheaper to go there when it was like 2 for $5. It was 2 for $4, 2 for $5, right? It did increase to like 2 for $9. One time we were there like 2 for $10. I was like, what the hell? I was like, well, it's 4 beers, $10, fine, technically. Right. And then this time I noticed it was 2 for $7. I was like, hey, we're going in the right direction here. I like that. I like that a lot. And of course, you grab a couple and you throw it in the bag and rock and roll, and you're just wandering around. You got a beer in your hand. You're enjoying yourself. And then we ate enough. We were fine. We didn't overindulge or anything like that. But we went to White Castle and then got a slice of pizza in New York, and then finished it off with Burger King. And then Alan, of course, almost got in a fight with 2 ladies because I don't know what they were doing, but I was like, I don't want to fight or argue. I was like, just put your order in there and shut your mouth. I don't give a shit. Shut up.
Well, until you were on the phone with Lizzie, talking to her, letting her know we're getting ready to come there, and then you were just very, our food's going to be here in a second. We're going to get our food, and we're going to punch these 2 chicks in the face, and then we'll be down there. And you were very loud as you were saying that. But no, so we're standing there in line, right? And there's an older lady she's having some problems, right? She's there. It's taking her a while to get her order.
Oh, Jay, there's a couple stories you got to stick around for because, I mean, Alan was Alan for a couple times, and there's one of them.
Oh, so, and these 2 girls are in line in front of us, and like they're trying to help the lady a little bit, and the lady wants nothing to do with their help. Like she's brushing them off. Like I know what I'm doing. Get away from me, right? And so, and then another minute goes by, and they leave. They both leave. They walk away. We move up. We're next in line. Lady finishes ordering. We're getting ready to walk up there. They come running up out of freaking nowhere. And they're like, oh, we're here. I'm like, whoa. Back up. You got out of line. Like, but we're back now. That's not how lines work, lady. Like, that's not how this works. You need to get out of the way. And the one lady's being super aggressive. The other friend's sitting there kind of apologizing. And I just look at her and go, your friend's a dick. This is a dick move.
And then the guy behind us, like trying to co-sign on. I was like, dude, shut up. No one even knows who you are. Get out of here. It's like, shut up. I go, keep talking to them. We ain't talking to you. Don't know you. Shut up.
Well, and he's like, yeah, no, that is a dick move. I go, it is a dick move. He goes, and we're not the dicks this time. I go, you're damn right. We're not the dicks, buddy. Like,
I don't know what
but it was just like, and so like, I'm just chirping at her the entire time as she's sitting there ordering. I'm like, that's a real bitch move, lady. Like, this is not cool. Like, this isn't how lines work. Blah blah. I'm just chirping at her the whole time. And her friends look at me like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no.
Jay, if they would have just left a piece of luggage there, I would have respected the luggage. I'm sure Alan would have too. They took everything and left.
Or just said, hey, we're going to run over here real quick. We'll be right back. Right? No, and it's not like you came over and said, hey, sorry, guys, we had to do this real quick. Do you mind if we? No, they just came and jumped right in front of you as you're getting ready to order. Like, and I'm like, whoa, what the f are you doing, lady? Like, oh, dude, I was hot. But also at that point in time, like my level of tolerance for crap was all used up on you. It was all used up on you at that point in time. Because I can't tell you how many times I had to look at you and be like, dude, stop. Like, There were several times I had to be like, get it together, lock it up, cut this crap out, right? And so they've earned no goodwill with me. So at that point in time, I'm like, you know what? We're burning this bitch down.
And if you ever tell me to stop and I'm already over the limit, I don't ever stop. Like now I'm just gonna keep going further. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I was wearing Allen thin.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, by the time that was over, it was like, oh my god. And yeah, we go back and sit down. We eat our food. You go to where there's a bank of power strips or whatever, so you can charge your phone because all our phones are pretty much dead.
Which was crazy because like at the gate we were at, there
Mhm.
was barely any. But if you go one gate over, every single seat has what they have them on top between every single seat. So maybe they're doing like some remodeling and they hadn't made it to that gate yet. But like all the ones before that one, they all had them.
Yeah,
And so yeah, so I went over there. I had to charge the phone. The phone was almost dead because we tried charging it a couple times, but everywhere we went, the plugs didn't work.
yeah.
Like we're just like,
Uh-huh.
what the hell?
And
Um,
they are doing remodeling there, so it
yeah,
is a headache to get into the airport. And then I saw a post. There was someone that took a shot at the Southwest queue, the line I think to talk. I don't know why people go to like the full service line unless there's no reason to. I don't get it. I don't know why they do.
on the app on your phone. I guess if you have to, not even you don't even have
No,
to do that if you're checking luggage. Like
no.
at this point in time, like
Drop it off in the front, and there's always that line. There's that right there when you pull up. The dude's right there. What is it called? Skycap or whatever? But it's a
yeah,
bag drop outside in Vegas, and they'll do it too. Yeah, and the line was bonkers. They're like, it must be NFR. I go, no, dude, y'all are just idiots. What are y'all all doing in there? Because there's no reason for it. But so the line, there's one road. It's three open other areas for like local Terminal 1. We're Terminal 3 or whatever because we're flying on Frontier. The line's backed up. All these cars are all trying to cut each other off. We got our cab driver's like he's about to hop out of the car and just start
dude,
cutting people.
he was.
It was bonkers. But I'll tell you this: the terminal was real nice. It was a little bit different when we went through security. It wasn't your normal. It wasn't the normal area that I go through, and so. Um, but once you're inside, real nice, real clean, looks
Sure.
about the same. And of course, Lizzie goes and plays. Like you're charging your phone. I'm over there just kind of eating my Whopper, just trying to make it. And of course, she hits. As soon as she hits the damn thing, it's like, oh, it's alive. It's the Frankenstein,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, oh my god. So of course, she hits it. I was proud of her. She hit like 2 or 3 machines during this trip and hit the cash out button. I'm like, that a girl. There you go.
There you go.
Like,
There
just
you
go
go.
find something else. If you think it's just going to keep coughing up money, that's not how
Yeah,
this place was built.
that's not how this works. Did you see our cab driver roll down his window and yell at the car that was trying to get over next to him?
Yeah, I was hanging out in the back just trying to sleep, and I could hear him, and he was like, he was hitting the brakes like every 3 seconds, like because
It's
he was just
very
flat on
it
that
just
car's ass, and
yeah.
so yeah, he starts yelling. And I'm like, oh my God, and then of course Lizzie was like, where are you from or whatever? And he's like, I'm from Cuba. I go, you can't tell he's not from Cuba. He got that accent and that attitude. He's absolutely Cuban. It's like,
He laughed his ass off when you talked about his attitude. But yeah, so because what it was you had the lane here, and then the lane next to us on our left was closing down, was shut down,
yeah,
and so you had all these cars flying up. Well, they got the big bright flashing lights, telling people to get over, and like because you were making the comment about like, man, what's going on? He's like, oh, it's down to one lane. He goes, it's because of all these morons here next to me that keep flying down. And then like we're getting there, and like the person's trying to get over in front of him, and he was not having it. And they're honking at him, and he rolls down his window and he goes, "You're not getting over, you moron. It's not my fault you didn't see the big giant blinking lights." And
yeah,
I'm just like, dude, we're gonna get shot. Like we ain't gonna make it to the airport. But
yeah.
yeah, it was.
He just, and of course he's driving a cab. We took a cab, or was it? Yeah, was it a cab? It was a cab. We took it from Luxor over there,
Yeah, yeah.
and but yeah,
The
it's
cabs
just
have a flat rate, like,
yeah.
and yeah,
And it's just crazy. And so these cars, they just cutting each other off and are trying to cut over. And he's like, no, it ain't happening. Hit me if you want to hit me. He goes, and if you hit me, you can tell if he got bumped, there was going to be a problem.
and here's the thing about that car, his check engine light was on, and his low, tire pressure light was on. Because I kinda looked over and I saw it wasn't just like the light, like the words were on the screen, it's like, "Check engine," and then I saw the light there for the low tire pressure, and I'm like, "Is this thing gonna make it?" Like, oh, man.
It was an interesting day. Yeah, start to finish, and like we got home. The guy was like, "Hey, we're gonna get out of here early," and we didn't leave any earlier. I think I remember sitting there like on the plane for a while,
I don't
and I was
think
like, "I'm
so.
just gonna go to
But
sleep."
the flight time was because through the app, like it tells you your flight time. It said 2 hours and 44 minutes.
Yeah,
And as I was walking on, was when he was talking about, hey, we're going to try and take off a little bit earlier. Our flight time's 2 hours and 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm
yeah.
down with that. Like,
Well, you catch the jet stream back, and so the flight's always like 45 minutes quicker. It's 3
yep,
hours to get out there, 3 hours to get back technically, but it's you catch a break with the jet stream, so you always
right.
arrive earlier. But I fell asleep before the plane took off. When I woke up, I kind of looked over at Liz. I go, "Are we in the air?" Like, because it was so
It was a
smooth
very
sailing.
smooth flight.
Yeah,
Even the landing was smooth. Like,
it's like, okay, man, we're here, and it was the other. Here's my only issue with Frontier. It's the people that fly Frontier, and they don't know how assigned seats work. They don't know how to get on a fucking airplane. They don't know how to get down and sit in their seat and buckle their seat belts. They don't know what a seatbelt sign is. They like, hey, do not get up or anything like that or whatever. Then there's always some jackass that gets up and goes either looking for the bathroom or has to get something out of their bag, and they're sitting there effing with so much crap. And it's insane,
well,
you know.
and our flight back had, I guess they had some limited space issues because they were talking about, hey, look, you know, we got to have some of these smaller bags are going to be pulled out of the top. You go, good night, kid.
Yeah.
Um, and then there was like a couple people that were back by where I was, and when they got on the plane, they were putting their bags in the front up there. And then there was a couple people that were up there towards the front, but I guess they got on the plane later, so they were in the back of the plane by me, putting their bags up there. And I'm like, oh, that sucks for you because you're gonna have to wait for everyone to get off the plane before you're able to go get your bag. But like right after we landed it and people started getting up, you had there was one lady who jumped up and started like running towards the front,
Yeah.
I guess, to get her bag. And like right after she ran past me and I was on the aisle seat, I was like, oh, this isn't how this is gonna work. So I unbuckled my seatbelt and just kind of turned my leg sideways. So I'm, right there in the because the aisle seat across from me was empty. There was only two people in that, and they were over in the by the window in the middle. And
Okay.
so I just stick my legs there, and I could see her. She kind of looked at me, and she was looking like at her friends, like trying to get them to come up. But yeah, that wasn't. You guys are gonna wait your turn,
Yeah.
like
I don't know. I think
row by row. Like what are we doing?
she went up there, and then by the time I get up, I'm leaving. We still get off the plane before her. She was like run up there to be next to her boyfriend or whatever. I'm like, what the hell? Or maybe it was someone different. I don't know. But I was just like, what is it? He got that kind of control on your ass where you're like, oh, you better get your ass up here, you know. And then
Dude,
they
that,
just get off the plane. I was like, what are you guys doing? I was like, what are you doing? But yeah, I mean, that's just half
that
the problem
that
is
makes me think about the flight on the way out there because like almost nobody sat next to people that they were with.
Mhm.
Like you were talking about, Frontier, they don't care. They're
Yeah.
gonna you all check in at the same time. We're gonna throw you guys all over the place.
Mm.
There was a kid that his parents were sitting behind me, and he was a few rows up in front of me. And as we're going out, this this little kid with no neck, big old kid with no neck, he comes walking back, and he's looking at his parents. He goes, "Can I have some money for a snack? I need some food." And his his dad goes, "No." He goes, "Why?" He's like, "No, we're not." He goes, "I need some food." No. And his dad goes, "We're gonna land in like an hour and we're gonna get some breakfast when we get there." He goes, "Okay, bye."
I need a snack. Can I have a snack?
I
Never
need a
been on
snack.
never been on Frontier, but my experiences with Spirit, apart from the uncomfortable seats, has been pretty decent. I don't mind. The prices are absolutely. We paid $30 a ticket to fly to
Round
Vegas and
trip.
fly back.
Round trip.
The seats. That's the only, I think, downside when it comes to that. As long as you read and make sure that you know what their bag policy is and things like that, it's going to be fine. But the seats are pretty uncomfortable, and they don't, obviously they don't recline. They sit upright. Not a lot of cushion there. That's the problem. But yeah, no, I don't get. I never have understood the person who gets on the plane and they're in fucking 31D and they put their bags in fucking first class. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, here's a spot. Let me put my bag here. I'm like, dude, that's. And then like you were talking about, they were like, it's limited space,
Yeah.
and you're not supposed to. If you are putting back, if you're putting your backpacks up there or like your other stuff, your personal item, you're not supposed to actually on their flights. They're, oh no, throw that crap
Oh,
underneath the seat
absolutely.
unless we have room. But even when we have room, no. And people would
Frontier
walk
will
on and
call you out for that.
yeah,
Like, they told one lady, this was on her way out there, and she's getting ready to get on the plane, and the lady looks at her, she goes, "You can go ahead and try and put your bag there to show it's the right size." She goes, "But it ain't gonna fit. You're gonna have to check that." And the lady just kinda looked at her, and she's like, "Go ahead." And she couldn't get it in there, so, yeah, she was having to pay. And then, like, when we were leaving Vegas and I was getting on, someone was trying to put there was one of the up overheads that was closed, and someone that was in the seat kinda there towards the front went to go pop it open, put it up there, and the lady was like, "No, that's for the people here in the second row. If they don't get on the plane, then you can use that spot, but if they get on the plane, it's theirs." Like, I was
nice.
like, "Whew. Oh,
They are
buddy." But
if you pay for the seats like up front, you'll have the open middle seat. It's not like first class or anything like that, but you have 3 seats, but they don't have people in the middle for like the first 5 rows or whatever. So you get room. And so
yeah,
yeah, no, and then like you get dedicated overhead space as well. So yeah, they start kicking stuff out, man. I do like that. If you're a big rule follower or you love the rules and you abide by the rules, you don't want somebody else taking advantage of, they are one of those companies. They're like, no, if it doesn't fit, it don't
well,
work. It ain't
you know what
happening.
I heard today? And you can look this up because there was like a congressman that was
You
like
look it
questioning. I already know the information. I'm just saying, if you don't believe it, look it up.
up.
But this congressman was talking to some airplane executives and things like that, and the topic that came up is about having people in line getting ready to get on the plane and having them having to check their bags. A lot of these airlines, the gate people, they get a bonus. They get a $10 bonus per suitcase that they have to have check in.
You get a 10% stip,
Te te
or what do
ten
they call it? Spiff?
$10, $10, $10
Well, it's
per.
$100. I think if you got to check it like last minute like that, it's like it turns into $100.
Right, but yeah, but
So, yeah.
the actual gate person that says, "Nope, you gotta check that," they get $10 for each one of those. And like he had said, "Yeah, and according to my records, you paid out $26 million to your associates for that last year."
Hey, you're bringing in the company money.
But,
Money.
imagine how much they're bringing in,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
yeah, and so, because I was listening to, Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and his wife, Christina,
Uh-huh.
and he was talking about how he just recently saw this because he was complaining about an airline that he's got a bag that he takes the same bag everywhere he goes, and he flies a lot. He's a comedian, right?
Mhm.
And this one gate person was like, "Nope, you got to check that. You have to check it. I don't care. You have to check," and forced him to check his bag. And he's like, I use this on the. She was like, "Nope," and he's like, "Now I know why she wanted her $10."
10 bucks. That's when you're like, "You know what? Can I just give you the 10 bucks cash and you can just shut your mouth so I can
I'll give
leave?"
you. Yeah, I'll give you 15.
That's you know what? That's gonna be well, it doesn't happen to me like that because I do I operate within the rules. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But if it's someone that's like, no, you got to check that or whatever, I'm like, I'm just gonna give you $15 cash right now because I know you're gonna get 10 bucks. So here's 15,
yeah,
or
yeah.
here's a 20 just to shut your mouth.
Right. I'm saving a shit ton either way,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah,
like on when we were getting on the plane for to come back home,
mhm,
the lady that was there at the gate, she made every single person put their bag in it.
yeah,
Even like the backpacks that were like small. Like she actually looked at mine and she was like, "Oh, you're good," because I didn't have anything in it. I had a
yeah,
phone charger and a cable and a pair of headphones.
yeah.
But everybody else, she was making them put. Everyone had to put them in there, and like some people like put it in there standing up. She's like, "Nope, you got to lay it sideways." And they're like, "Well, it doesn't." She's like, "Yep, you got to check it."
Yep. I told you, man. That's the first time I ever seen it, and it was in Vegas going back to Dallas. That was the last day trip, and I go, damn, they're out here. I mean, they're like, yeah, if you don't have a bag, get in this line. You got a bag, stay right here because you need to put it in this box, in this container. And
Yeah.
if you can't get it to fit, I mean, all of a sudden they start taking it, whatever. This kid in front of us, Lizzie was like, "Did you see him? He had like 3 pairs of clothes on because he started throwing clothes on top of it." I was like, Jesus.
I've
But
seen people do that when they were checking their luggage, and it was you have like up to like 50 pounds or whatever it was,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And their suitcase weighed 52 pounds, and they're like, they look at him, and he's like, "Yeah, that's gonna be $100 extra," and he was like, "Hold on a second." and you see him open it up, and he starts putting on shirts, and he looks at his girl. She's like, "Here, put these on too." And yeah, they each put on a couple extra shirts, throws it back on there. 49.8 pounds. He goes, "We good now."
Yep. I that happened to us in New York. Like I told Liz, I go, "This is over the limit. I know it's over the limit." And so we got to the airport, and they were like, "It's 52 pounds or 53 or whatever it was." I go, "Yep, there you go." I go, "Pay the fee." I was like, "What? I'm not putting on a bunch of clothes. I'm not going to put on some boots and shit like that." You know what I'm saying? And the guy was really nice about it. He goes, "No, here, just because you guys." He goes, "How many carry-ons you got?" I was like, "Nothing. We're dropping bags. We're out of here." So he had an extra like shopping bag, from like
Okay,
Berndorf's or something like that. And so she put like a couple pairs of shoes and a heavy coat
couple things
into it.
in there and carried that on.
Yeah. I was like, "No, fear. Make her pay the money. She needs to learn." I go, I've been putting up with this shit for 20 years.
She's
Rules are
she's not
rules."
getting away with this.
Yeah. She's not getting away with it. And then of course she got away with it. I'm like, son of a bitch. But yeah, I was like, nah,
Yeah.
write the check or, swipe the card. Let's go. Let's go.
Pay that man his money.
Uh-huh. That's exactly how I felt. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you that it just bags, travel, airports, people, all that shit just doesn't gel. It's like you just got morons after morons. And then I'm not saying anything bad about like TSA and people who work in this industry and stuff like that, but it's just a bunch of idiots yelling at other idiots, and it
Yeah,
just causes chaos.
yeah.
I'm just like, I just want to get through. I I know how to pack a bag. I don't have we got caught with a knife once. Because that bag had, we had it with us and drove up to Kentucky. And so I had a little knife in that bag. And of course, Lizzie was using it to get through. And they're like, whose bag is this? I go, "That's her bag." And I go, "Shit, I know what's in that bag." And it goes, "You want it?" I go, "Yeah." I parked right outside, so I'm going to take it outside real quick. But yeah, I was like, shit.
I had I had one instance where when I took the kiddo to Florida, that first day we were there at Florida, and then we went on the beach, and she kind of went in the water a little bit. We get back, and she had a real bad heat rash going on, and so I stopped and bought some powder. And I bought the only one they had was like a big one when I went to the Target to get it, and just didn't even think about it because we didn't check any baggage because we were just there for 2 days. And so I threw it in my bag, and then they saw it, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I completely forgot about that." I was like, "You can just throw that away." He goes, "No, I don't need to throw it away." And he just does a couple things. He's like, "All right, you're good." Right.
She texted, "Make sure it's not cocaine." uh, I'll take that from you because I need to take care. You're just in the
But
bathroom bumping.
that's been the only time, and it was one of those where I was just like, I just didn't even think about it. Like it was just the
Yeah.
only reason why I had bought it, the kiddo had the heat rash and was trying to take care of her and just threw it in the bag and wasn't even
Yep.
thinking. But
Yep. Well, that's our last day trip to Vegas for 2024. We'll probably do another one next year. It's fun to do if you haven't done it, and if you live close enough. You can't a cross country trip, or flight from the East Coast over there. It might not work. The flight time might just be a little too long. But for us, it's like 2 hours 45 minutes to get out there, and then like about 2 hours and 15 to get back. And they have the red eye back for us, so we can get up early in the morning, catch it at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. We've done a 10 o'clock flight before, and then we got back. We took the 12:55. It was the next day technically,
yeah,
but you with Frontier and with Spirit, both those times that we've done it, it's been $30, $50,
yeah,
$70. I think the last one, how much it was for me and Lizzie, but yeah, good stuff. Lots of fun. I recommend it, and we talk about it before, so that if you want to join us, you're more than welcome. If you're part of the Patreon, you got a free spin on the roulette machine. Patreon.com/strikeout beer. Couple bucks,
nobody
buy your
won.
pounds of beer. And yeah, we did a video out there. We're like, all right, we're here. It's $5 on the roulette wheel. Was it 00 or was that another one we had
No,
like
that was a different one. It landed on like number 18. It was like number 18 that it landed on. No one had that one. But
but
yeah, I will say there was an interesting version of you that popped out while we were there as well. The one that makes a ton of bets that no intention on ever paying up on them, which I never would have held you to them because you were but at one point it was when we were trying to leave the casino. I was trying to leave the casino that you were fixing to get kicked out of, and I was like, "We gotta go get Lizzie. We gotta get out of here." You're like, "She's not leaving. She's not leaving." I go, "Dude, we're leaving," and you look at me and you just look at me dead in the eye, and you did this every damn time. You look me dead in the eye and you go, "I'll bet you." I bet you. I was like, "All right, man, whatever." And at that one, you kind of reached in your pocket and you just had everything in your pocket that you had. You go, I don't know how much is here, but if we leave, this is all yours. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, well, all right, man, that's cool. And of course, we walk over there, and I tell her, I was like, hey, we got to go. She's like, okay, cool. And we left. And I look at you, I go, hey, you just lost. You, and then you look at me, you go, lost what? I was like, all right, man, whatever.
I don't remember doing it. It never happened.
And there was a couple other times, like even at the when we got to the airport, and you guys have TSA pre-check, and I had, I got to go through security, and you're like, if you make it through faster than us, I'll give you $5. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I go through, and I got through. Of course, you guys sat over there for a little bit before you guys even went, right? But there was a lot of people over there at TSA pre-check,
Yeah.
like when we went to go leave. So you actually kind of had to stand in line for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I got through, and I'm just standing there, and I'm just looking. I'm like, I go, Beacha, you go, yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. And
Yeah.
there was a couple other times where it was it didn't work out, but we got on the little tram, right? And this dude gets on, and like he's backing up against me, like hit me with his
Oh,
backpack, just completely just oblivious to everything going on. Not even sure that they spoke English because we were standing there talking trash about them pretty loudly. And you're like, hey, $100 if when these doors open up, you just push them and just go running out the door. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's this side that the door opens up on. You're like, I don't care. Just dash out the door as soon as we get there. $100, it's yours. And I'm like, all right. And so like we get there, and like as it stops, I'm kind of standing there, like I don't know which door's going to open up. And of course, it was the one that the guy's not standing in front of. But as soon as it opened up, I took off running out. And you're like, where are you going? I'm like, son of a bitch, dude, we just talked about this a minute ago.
I got short-term memory, man.
Yeah, yeah, no, but the one where
Actually,
no, with Lizzie, you're just like, you just reach in your pocket, and you go, I don't know how much is here, but it's a pretty nice chunk. It's all yours if she leaves without any problems. I go, okay.
see, this is problem with drinking with people who aren't drunk with you. You know what I mean? Because then he remembers everything, and I don't remember anything. I'm like, I don't remember half that shit. But yeah, no, I mean, most of it happened, I would say. but yeah,
And like,
if we both been drinking, then we're like, hell, we don't remember nothing. It's like,
well, if we have both been drinking, then that's when you're gonna have the problem, because then the other drunk guy's gonna be like, no, man, we made a bet, man. Where's the. But like me, I'm like, had you even handed it to me, like had you remember handed it to me, I'm not gonna hold you to this. I'm not gonna. I would have given it back to you, but I'm going to give you shit about it. You better believe I'm going to give you shit about it.
that's like, what's that, Deuce Bigelow? You owe me my $7. You owe me 200. Oh, give me my $6 first. Yeah, but yeah, fun trip, always fun. We're at the top of the hour right now, so let's. If you want to talk Juan Soto, or you want to go to NFL picks?
Dude, let's Juan's that it's insane, that Juan Soto contract.
It
Was
really
it
is.
16? It ended up being 16 years?
He's got, all right. So let me get the contract, and also he had a bunch of stipulations. You know what I mean, like jersey number retention and things like that. It said the Mets on Sunday agreed to sign Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 million contract. By far the largest pact in MLB history, which is finalized on Wednesday after a physical. So it was done. They got the physical in today, which was done. And it, like I said, he had a bunch of like stipulations involved as well. But 15 years is unbelievable. I can't believe it. It's that some news stories have it like absurd contract. I'm like, yeah, no, it's absolutely absurd. I can't believe it. This thing could reach 805 million.
Yeah. And they're not like deferring it either. Like they're paying them. They're not doing the thing the Dodgers do, where they pay you, hey, I'm going to pay you $100 this year. But, when you've retired in 15 years, you're going to be getting $30 million a year. Right. None of it's deferred. They're paying it all. Okay. And part of it was he wanted a suite, and the Yankees wouldn't give him a suite. But the Yankees were like, look, Aaron Judge pays for a suite. Derek Jeter pays for a suite. Okay. Derek Jeter's brought us how many championships, right? Derek Jeter's, he's probably the most famous Yankee right now, right? In New York. Like Derek Jeter can go anywhere in New York and not have to pay for anything for the rest of his life. But at Yankee Stadium, he has to pay for a suite. It's just the way it is, right? And so they're like, no, we can't. We're not going to give you a suite. I'm paying you $765 $60 million, right? But the other thing was like they wanted to give it one less year too. Like I think it was like a 14 year contract instead of the 15-year contract. But I don't. This was all money driven.
Mhm.
All of this. This has nothing to do with wanting to win or any of that. Because if it did, you stay with the Yankees.
Yeah.
But even just that, like if you just want his numbers will be better with the Yankees than they will be with the Mets. Because who's batting in front of him, protecting him in the lineup?
Exactly. He's
Or
surrounded
not
by
in front of
talent.
him, behind him. He's
Yeah.
got Aaron Judge behind him. They're not going to walk Soto to get the Judge. I
Yeah.
think they actually did a couple times when Judge was kind of in one of those slumps, and he made them pay. I think every single time. Like, but you go to an organization that's run well like the Yankees, right? Say what you will about the Yankees. Everyone hates the Yankees. They're the evil empire, all that stuff, but they sell out and they do everything they can to win year in and year out, and they're competitive year in and year out. The Mets are dysfunction. Like they spend money on players every year, but it's always the wrong players. It's always the wrong guys. Like, and let's just go ahead and talk about this right now. You know what the Yankees did today? They
Hmm.
signed Max Fried to an 8-year deal.
Okay. 8 years.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they
Yeah.
just signed a hell of a left-handed pitcher to add to that rotation that was already good. They just improved it. Like,
They get freed for $218 million.
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
signing
It's
bonus. Oof.
but
Uh,
you're
uh,
just like
uh.
i- they're still making moves. They're still doing stuff, and they're gonna keep doing stuff. They're gonna keep adding players. The Yankees are gonna be fine. The Yankees are gonna be just fine. The Yankees are gonna be right up there for contention in the World Series again next year. But
Yeah.
you take a look at, and let's just look at American League versus National League. You got to go through the Braves every year. You got to go through the Dodgers. The amount of teams, the Phillies. There's a lot better teams over the National League than there are in the American League.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
American
mean,
League.
they finished third in their division. They were 89 and 73, which tied the Braves, but the Braves were just under. They
The,
had
the,
problems. They had injuries all year, right?
yeah, that's the thing. The Braves, everybody, all their best players got hurt, and they still won. What's
Yeah.
going to happen when they come back next year? Right, Acuna is going to be back. Spencer Strider is going to be back. They did lose Max Fried, but I mean they had Chris Sale, right? Um, Yeah, I don't. It's 100% money driven. That's all this move was. It wasn't about winning or any of that. It's I'm gonna go where I want to get the most money and the most benefits, and
Oh, of course.
that's all there is to it.
Um, the deal contains a full no trade clause, a $75 million signing bonus, opt out after 5 years, and no deferred money. The Mets will be able, they have the ability to void Soto's opt out clause after the 2029 season if they boost the average annual value of the final 10 years of his deal from 51 to 55 million. Oh my God. This
Then
is
you can trade
insane.
them, but then you can trade them, right?
Yeah.
So if your franchise is struggling, which I'm gonna go ahead and call it right now, they will be.
Hmm.
Like this isn't a move that's gonna. This is a move that should make the Mets better, but it's just not because whenever they for whatever reason the guys they always sign it just doesn't work out,
Yeah.
right?
Even
um
Alonso struggled, like when they signed him to a massive deal. Like,
right.
and he was just awesome.
Just
I love watching him play too.
the
But
dude can crush the ball.
yeah, they're in a division that's extremely tough. The NL East is Phillies, Braves. I mean, the Nationals struggled this year and the Marlins suck, but I mean, you're pretty much gonna be third place like every year. You're, you might finish second, but the Braves are just the Braves.
Right.
And
A well-run organization again. Y- to me, I would look at the organization and be like, I'm going to go to an organization that's run well. Like, and here's the thing, like you can make up whatever money that you're missing. The endorsements for the Yankees, you're going to get more endorsements and stuff with the Yankees than you are with the Mets. I get it, you're both New York teams and all that, but
oh, come on.
it's the Yankees,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Well, taking a look at the, let's say, MLB World Series winner next events like the futures or whatever. Dodgers are plus 350. The Mets are They're in fourth. Yeah, fourth. They're tied with the Braves right now at plus 800. So
Okay.
they're actually ahead of the Phillies. So you have the Dodgers at plus 350, Yankees at plus 750, and then the Braves and Mets plus 800.
Okay.
So they obviously think enough to put them up. I don't know what they were at before. I probably should have checked that out. I could have looked, I guess. But the for me, the Juan Soto signing just kind of came out of left field. Like it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I knew it was going to be a massive contract,
yeah.
right? Did I think it was going to be 65 million more than Otani? No, I didn't. I kind of thought it would be more, right? Um, but I didn't think it'd be that much more.
Well, you started chiming in about his defensive
Well,
acumen, if you want to
that
call
was
it that.
the big thing that right after the signing, I guarantee you it's a bunch of salty Yankees fans, right?
Uh, just
Started
put a
posting
clip together.
all these clips together of all the missed pop flies, grounders, all that stuff that he missed. Like this is what you got for 765 million. Okay. Show the other stuff that he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
He does. He hits very well. He fields. He's an okay fielder, but he's in right field for a reason, right? I said it yesterday. He's not in center field. He's not in left field. He's in right field,
right.
and I mean, he could go DH if you want him to, because I don't like him. I haven't liked him since he played for the Nationals. He just that attitude or whatever it is. I was like, he's a guy like Altuve. I'd hit him every single time. Like he gets in the plate, starts doing that dirt kicking around and grabbing his crotch. I'm gonna plug him. You know what I mean? But you can't deny what he can do. But that
Well,
contract's insane.
that's also your response to any player who's good. Hit him.
Yeah. Just hit him. I mean, what's the worst? They get on first. It's like
Aaron
every so
Judge
often
ain't
they get in a
hitting
fight.
home runs off me because I'm plunking him every time.
Yeah, he's never hit a home run against you. Yeah, no, I'm going to keep it that way. You just hit him in the leg. Just plunk
You
him.
face Aaron Judge 50 times in his career, and he has zero official at bats. Says here you've hit him 50 times. Yeah. Why did
That's
you
what
do that? Because I didn't want him to hit a home run.
yeah. You either plunk him or you walk him, and
Yeah.
the same result's going to happen. So, but every so often he might look at the mound, but whatever.
Yeah.
Hopefully my catcher will sit there. Otherwise, fire the ball back to me, and you just got the ball in your hand. You're like, come on. I'll fire one more right back at you.
The average speed of the pitch that you threw at him was 40 miles an hour. Yeah, I didn't want to hurt him. I just wanted to hit him.
Yeah. I don't want to piss him off where he has to come charging at the mound. Or I got a wife and kids at home.
They're all first pitch knuckleballs that hit him.
Knuckleballs. Now that would be hilarious, right? Where you're like, you say that you're not trying to intentionally beam, but you're throwing like knuckleballs, and they just knuckle right at him. But it's going 45 miles an hour, so no one cares. He's caught half of them. And your argument with us, he didn't try to get out of the way. That's strike one. It's like, Jesus. Oh my God. You got any other MLB news before we move on to picks?
Your Red Sox made a move today.
What did they do?
They traded for Garrett Crotchet.
Who's that?
He's a pretty damn good pitcher from the White Sox.
The White Sox finally traded their only good pitcher.
Yeah. Yep.
Or prospects. Yeah. So they got
Yep.
So Crochet or Crochet.
I call it Crotchet.
Yeah, Crotchet. He heads to the Sox. White Sox Red Sox give up some prospects. The White Sox, they had a rough season, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was pretty much the auto bet of the year. They only won 20 something games or something. Was it 100? No, they won 40.
No, they didn't.
I know. What's the league record? Is it 121 or 120?
Oh, they did. They 41 and 121.
There you go. Dude, it was the best year ever for baseball betting. And I'll tell you this, we talked about it before, but how do I always say that? I always say we talked about this, and then I say we talked about. Anyways, I just need a couple days off. Anyhow, if you took that money when they were on that like 20 something game losing streak, you could have put $100 on it and then take that money and the profit every single day and put it into the next game. In the next game, you would have went from $100 to did he actually hit $1 million, or was it like 787,000 something?
Yeah, but I
Bonkers.
mean, Crotchet. I mean, he last year in 146 innings, he struck out 209 and walked just 33.
There you go.
He had a K rate of 39.9% last year on that shit show of a team. Like,
Yeah.
you put him on a good team, and he's a possible Cy Young candidate, right? Which we'll see next year with Boston. I mean, Boston's not really Boston's. They're a lot better than the White Sox. We'll say that, right? They'll be in contention for playoffs, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, their team wasn't terrible. They just, I don't know, man. Like they have some talent, some young talent too. They
you
just
got
had
some
a
young
terrible
talent.
season.
That's the thing. You guys are a young team, and you're working on figuring out a few things.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, they do make trades with the within each other. The Sox, the Red Sox and the White Sox, they do trade quite a bit, it seems like. Anyways, all right, cool. All right.
and your Rangers brought back Eovaldi on a 3-year deal.
I like that. Big fan. I like Eovaldi. I actually was thumbing around in a drawer in here and found the World Series ring. I have a replica one, and that's the only one I have is the Eovaldi one.
Eovaldi. Okay.
Yeah. And I like him. I like him. Yeah, he's a good pitcher. He's a good
I
dude.
hope so. He got him for 3 more years.
Yeah, yeah. Just need a couple more. Need some more pitching. Need some more pitching.
There you go.
And I'll and maybe I'll bring back the roundup for the 3rd season.
I mean, you got to, right?
Yeah. All right, moving on to NFL. We got some picks this week. Before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the playoff picture, if you don't mind. Now we've had, I think it's 7 or 9.
A little unrelated NFL news.
Sure. Yeah.
You saw what Bill Belichick did today, right?
No, he porked that 29-year-old again.
He's the new head football coach of the University of North Carolina Tar Heels.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
So he's over. Was it Matt? Who was out there? That Texas? Oh, that old Texas coach.
Mac Jones. Yeah.
So Mac Jones.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to say that was his name because isn't that the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
What? I'm not sure about what. Or I'm sorry, Mac Brown. I'm sorry, Mac Brown.
There you go, Mac Brown. But
yeah, that's no, Belichick signed a 5-year deal with North Carolina today. There's been some rumors going around that he was going to go ahead and do it. He was on McAfee asked him about it the other day, and he goes, "Look, if I were to be a coach of a college team, here's what I'm going to tell you, and here's my pitch. You want to be NFL ready, because that's what I'm going to turn out. NFL ready talent. You want to know how to practice like an NFL player. You want to know how to train like an NFL player. That's what you're going to get. And it's also him setting up his son to take that program over, right? A lot of the talk is he signed a 5-year deal, but he'll probably be there 2-3 years because he really wants that wins record in the NFL. So he'll coach in college, set North Carolina up. Like, he's going to pull talent there. Yeah. Who doesn't want to go? If you're a kid and you want to be ready for the NFL and you want to play in the NFL, Belichick's going to get you ready for it. But it's a lot of the talk is that he's setting his kid up. This is for his kid, and his kid will end up taking over, which his kid's a really good coach too. And he'll end up, even without this, he'll end up getting a head coaching job. This will just kind of speed up that timetable a little bit. But yeah, no, he's going to be coaching there in North Carolina. Signed a 5-year deal to do that. So sorry, Cowboys fans, you're not bringing in Belichick next year.
Buddy, could have done something. Could have been a contender.
Not that he would come here because he's not dealing with Jerry's crap.
Nah.
Like,
not even a little bit. Not even.
He's got absolutely zero time for that. He's not even taking Jerry's call. Like, Jerry's calling him, he's just like, I'm gonna send that to voicemail.
You can just see the transcript coming across. Hi, this is Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys. I can't even do a Jerry voice anymore. I do the fake Jerry Jr. though. Daddy, can we go to Chuck?
Can I have some mac and cheese?
He always wants mac and cheese, or he wants to go to Chuck E. Cheese. There's one of the cheese is on the kid's mind all the time.
I mean, whose kid is it? Is it not on their mind?
Here's your playoff picture for the NFL 2024 season here. Two teams have clinched playoff spots. In the AFC, you have the Chiefs and the Bills. Chiefs are number 1 right now. Bills are number 2. And then NFC, you have the Lions and the Eagles. Lions number 1, Eagles number 2. In the hunt, we did have some teams get eliminated, right? So you only have 10 teams available, like that can even make the playoffs in the AFC. The Steelers are in the hunt. Number 3, Texans number 4, Ravens number 5, Chargers number 6, Broncos number 7. And then on the bubble, you have the Indianapolis Colts, Miami Dolphins, and the Bengals are still alive, but it's pretty much going to be over after this week, I believe. I mean, it's over now, if I'm not mistaken. Oh man, I can't believe he put that there. Like, he put that screen there, and I was like, oh man, come on, you can't put that there. Look, it doesn't even cover the thing. All right. If the Bengals win, they're currently at a 3% chance of winning or to get in the playoffs. 4% if they win. Dolphins, 16% currently. If they lose, it's down to 5. If they win, it's up to 30 or 29. Colts, if they lose, down to 7. They're currently sitting at 26. And if they win, it's 56. That's, what it takes to get in there. I've this thing hasn't moved a whole lot lately. And I have talked about how obviously, the Chiefs are going to get the bye. They're going to have the Bills play the Broncos. You're going to have the Steelers play the Chargers, Texans, and Ravens. Sounds like a good time to me. It really does. And those are the teams I like. Here, let me put you back over there. Nope. Do it. You do it. You do it. There you go. And with the AFC, it's the Chiefs or the Bills coming out of this conference. Ravens, we had high hopes for them, and they've kind of showed themselves. But I don't see the Broncos making a run either. Chargers, I don't believe can get it done. They lose against even the bad teams. Texans, they like to perform sometimes. They play, but when they play good teams, they're not that great. So I see the Chiefs, Bills coming out of this conference. Do you see anything different?
You're not even considering the Steelers at all?
Uh-uh.
Why is that?
Nope. I just don't believe them. I just don't believe them. I don't think they've really. I don't. They've beaten some good teams. They have, but I don't see them. I don't know, man. You see them beating the Chiefs or the Bills?
Here's the thing. Teams you were just mentioning, right? I mean, you said you don't believe in the Broncos, okay, but they did beat the Broncos. The Chargers, they beat the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Ravens. I mean,
when they beat the Broncos weren't what they are now, right? They beat the Broncos back in September. Broncos were terrible back then, right? They beat the Falcons.
Also did that without Russell Wilson. Yeah. Say what you will, but Russell Wilson has been kind of vintage old Russell Wilson this year.
I have really enjoyed watching him play this year because once he got back and was healthy and he took over the starting role from Justin Fields, big fan. Like, it's like, hey man, look at this guy, sling it. He's back, and he does have talent around him, and they have their defense is getting after it.
I think you got to see what the Steelers do in their next 3 games, because they've got the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs in their next 3 games.
Yeah, this is how.
And then their fourth one, it's not going to be. The Bengals aren't good this year, but the Bengals can still. They're a very dangerous team, right? And they can put up a lot of points. They did just beat the Bengals 44-38, which is insane. Yeah. But I don't think right now I can't count the Steelers out. Let me see what they do the next 3 weeks. If the Steelers reel off 3 wins in a row over these next 3 games over the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, or even go 2-1 in that set, I think you got to consider them.
I think you're right because you're right when it comes to this point where, yeah, they're finally being tested. The other teams that they've beaten along the way. Now, that Ravens-Steelers game was weird. It was just nothing but field goals, right? It was if I remember correctly, it was a real soggy, sloppy day, and it was nothing but field goals. And then all the other teams they played, they are just they're bad teams. And then, like you want to talk about their good defense, and then the Bengals ring up 38 on them, but then they scored 44.
It's different though. Like, if the Bengals had a halfway decent defense,
it's a old school
halfway decent defense, the Bengals would be right up there with everybody. But their defense is trash, right? They got Hendrickson, and then they got nothing else. You say, okay, the teams are beating their bad, but they're beating them, right? And that's what it is. Like, in the NFL, either you win or you lose, right? And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you do it, but you got to do it. And a team that's 10-3, I'm not going to count them out yet. I want to see what they got. And we're definitely going to see that here over the next 3 weeks. If they come out and they beat the Eagles this week, okay, now you're starting to get people's attention. But I'm not going to count them out. They're a extremely well coached team in Tomlin. Um, their defense is good. I mean, you got TJ Watt over there, right? And when you have a game changer like that on your defensive line, he can just make teams just a long day for an offense
Yeah.
when you got that guy running at you. So I'm not gonna count them out yet. Let's see what happens.
I was on board when they beat the Ravens. I was like, "Oh, here we go," and then they lost to the Steelers or the Browns the following week. I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell is this?" But I
But
think
that was also in a snowstorm, right?
this is yeah, when the snowstorm to come through. But yeah, you're right. It's Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs. You're going to find out immediately. And if they can't beat the Chiefs, so they get like something, they get the doors blown off or something like that. That's when you'll know because they have to go through them anyways, most likely to get to the AFC Championship or, into the. They're not going to face them in the first round, obviously, but they might see them in the AFC like divisional or depending on how they finish up. They should make the playoffs. I think their chances right now are like what 99%. Yeah, they're in the playoffs. They're going to make it. But they haven't secured that check mark yet. So, but so you're talking Steelers, Bills, and Chiefs. One of those three teams. Is there anybody else that catches your eye on the AFC side of things that can make it, like say, into the conference game or possibly the Super Bowl?
Um, no, I think it's those teams. It's you got four teams that you're looking at there with those four teams. Um, I mean, I'm not gonna completely discount the Chargers yet, but I think they're a long shot. Um, I think losing J.K. Dobbins really hurt them. Gus Edwards just has not been.
The same guy. He's not the same. He's not the.
He's not. He's had a ton of injuries. He hasn't really. He got a touchdown the other week, or this last week, but outside of that, he just hasn't done much. So they got to figure out something with that run game because especially in um, the playoffs, the run game is big. It's huge, especially if you're going to end up playing. If we're saying the road runs through Kansas City, you got to have your offense has to have long, sustaining drives to keep Pat Mahomes off the field.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to, if you have a lead in the fourth quarter and there's 3 minutes left, you have to be able to run that clock out. And in order to do that, you got to be able to run the ball. Yeah, you're going to sprinkle in some passes here and there, but you want to be able to pound the ball down their throat and keep the clock running. Denver's got the defense. I just don't think they're ready offensively. I think Bo Nix has made a lot of strides, but again, I think they're also still trying to figure out something with their run game. I think they've been lucky that Bo Nix has worked out as good as he has, and so they haven't had to lean on that run game as much here lately. But I mean, with a defense, yeah. I mean, we've seen the Denver team drag a one-armed Peyton Manning to the Super Bowl a couple times, and won it once.
That
In
defense is
spite in
crazy.
spite of Peyton Manning being their quarterback, they won that Super Bowl, right? It's only because that defense was so good that they won that Super Bowl with Peyton Manning because he wouldn't have won a Super Bowl on any other team that year.
Wasn't the first
Hell,
play from scrimmage a safety because the ball went over Peyton Manning's head or something like that? And then that's something weird. All right. Moving over to your favorite conference, the NFC.
oh, buddy.
Lions 1 spot, Eagles 2 spot, Seattle 3, Buccaneers 4, Vikings 5, Packers 6, Commanders. Oh, I meant to tell you. Oh, Commanders are 7. I meant to mention all the teams that are not available in the AFC, but you know what? We already passed that moment. On the bubble, you have the Rams, the Falcons, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Saints, the Cowboys, the Bears, and the Panthers. I will say this. Even if the Saints, Cowboys, Bears, and Panthers actually win this week, their chance of making the playoffs is still less than 1%, except
So
for the Saints. They have 2%.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Like
all I hear.
everyone
That's
else is
all
pretty much.
Dallas. That's all Dallas Cowboys fans are hearing. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to be statistically eliminated after losing to the
Yeah,
Bengals
I
because I
mean
heard whoever.
it's 99% chance that they're
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
make it. So yeah, what's up, Killa? Killa's
That'll
in
be
the
fun.
house. What's up, Fockers?
So yeah, I mean, if you look at that, Lions get the bye. Eagles are going to have to play the Commanders, which they should win. Then you have the Seahawks and Packers maybe, and then Bucks and Vikings. So obviously, 3 teams out of the AFC or the NFC North, and you could see all 3 of or 2 of them moving on. One of them has a bye week, and they could all be in the divisional rounds, which would be fun. I like seeing stuff like that in the playoffs with just just divisional chaos and rivalries. That's always fun. But outside of the top 7, who do you like as a possible chance not only to make the playoffs, but to make some hay? Right, you got the Rams, Falcons, Cardinals, Niners. That's as far as I'm going because there's no reason to talk about the rest.
And the only team I'm even talking about is the Rams, and that's just because of that offense.
And because Stafford's on the offense.
Well, I mean,
I'm just kidding. No, they have
it's
Puka
not just him,
Nakua, they got Cooper Kupp, they got
Puka,
Kyron
Kyron
Williams.
Williams, Cooper
Yeah,
Kupp.
yeah.
Was it Will Dissly, their tight end, who's actually had an okay year. But they have the offense to cause some. I don't think they have a chance at winning the Super Bowl, and I don't think they make it to the championship game. But they're a team that can go in there and they can get an upset, maybe in the first round. But I don't think they're making it too much further past that.
Do you
Because
see anybody
we're
on
not
the
talking about the Falcons.
Yeah. Well, I'm
The
saying,
only
do you see anybody on the outside looking in that has a chance to make it to the conference game? You're just saying the Rams?
The Rams are the only team that's got and you've got a team that there's a decent amount of they're not all still there, but they still have some players that have been there before. McVay's a good coach. He knows what he's doing. He's been to the Super Bowl a couple times, won one. So you've got a coaching staff and you've got a good veteran, a quarterback that's a difference maker. He's a quarterback that can go out there and put the team on his back and carry him to a victory.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, he's one of those. There's not a ton of them in the NFL, but he's one of those quarterbacks that can put the team on his shoulders and say, "Let's go."
Yeah. And the Seahawks have been kind of hit or miss this year. And if the
I-
Rams leapfrog them, get into the playoffs or win the division, that's really how they're going to get in, by winning the
Yeah,
division.
yeah.
And you're going to be a number 3 or number 4 seed. So the matchup gets a little bit more favorable for you.
I mean, you win your division, you host a home game,
Yeah.
right? And so that's where you get that first victory, right? You get that first victory because you host a home game in the first round, the wild card round. But then once you get to the divisional round, it's a different story because then you're probably going on the road at that point in time, and you're
Not
you'll
well, if
have
you're in the
you'll have
if you're
some
in the
fun.
3 hole. If you're in the
Yeah,
3 hole, you'll be fine because you'll get to host back to back if you win.
yeah.
Because at that point you'll play the number 6 seed, if I'm not mistaken, which will be the Packers or Vikings, someone like that.
Right, a team that's better than you. Like maybe not necessarily the Packers. Like I'm not sold on the Packers. Um, I just don't think that I, I'm not big believer of Jordan Love. Like this last week against the Lions, he was non-existent. He threw 12 passes, and that's your franchise player that's supposed to carry you, right? Um, I don't know. I just don't. I'm not buying the Packers. I think the Packers are a first round exit. Um, yeah. Now the Vikings, yeah, I'm in on the Vikings. The Vikings have a really good defense, and Sam Darnold's kept it together this year. And you've got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison both really healthy now. Addison's been battling some injuries this year. And then you get TJ Hawkinson back and he's just getting healthier and healthier. I think the Vikings are a dangerous team that can definitely screw around and screw some things up for some people. Um,
I love chaos in the playoffs.
yeah,
Love it.
and that's a team that can definitely do it. I mean, they're 11-2 this year, and no one's really talking about them, right? Um, and they lost a close game to Detroit. Now Detroit played an awful game back then, but still, you were in it with the number 1 seed right now, and you still have another game against them. Um, so yeah, and the Eagles, I think there's too much dysfunction on that Eagles team for them to do anything. Um, I like them. I think they're a really good team. There's just a lot of dysfunction on that team with Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. I mean, the fact that one of the top stories in the NFL today is Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown come out and air that, oh, we're good to go. There's no problems with us. Well, guess what? If there was no problems with you guys and everything was clean, you wouldn't have to address the fact that there's tension between the two of you. There's no secret that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts don't get along, and those are two of your top players. So I actually think at the end of the season, you see one of those two players leave that team. And it's probably going to be A.J. Brown. I don't see the Eagles getting rid of Jalen Hurts, getting rid of their franchise quarterback. You get rid of A.J. Brown is the guy that's going to kind of be on the outs this year. So I kind of see that happening. But I just think there's a little bit too much dysfunction there. I don't think they're they're coached really well. I think Sirianni, he's a coach that came in this year on the hot seat. I think they're a team that's not as well coached. You've got problems between a couple of your stars. It's going to end up biting you in the ass at the end of the day, I think. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with them. I don't believe in the 49ers at all, even though they're still have a chance. But yeah.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and make some picks. You got we're gonna do the Cowboys game, the Bengals game, the Lions game, and then you have two special games of the week. Let's go ahead and knock them out.
Games of the week. You got the coin?
I do have the coin. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see here. LNRD and coin. Hold on. I didn't draw my line. I'm just drawing some lines on this real quick.
Gotta keep it separated.
Yeah. First up, out of the gates, we've got the Rams and the 49ers tomorrow night. The Rams are getting 3 points. Who are you taking?
I mean, you got to take the Rams, right? I don't know. This is a pick that I lose every single week in the Pick'em League.
Well,
right? It's like
we don't pick this game every week, so that's a lie.
Well, with the Rams, I don't know which Rams team's going to show up. You know what? I'll do the Niners. The Niners -3, even though that's the dog. They think this game's going to be a little bit closer. It's probably going to be more like a 1 or a 2 point game, or the Rams could absolutely win. But yeah, Niners cover.
Okay, give me the Rams. They're just the 49ers just aren't that good right now.
They're not.
That's all there's to it.
All right. Heads, home team.
All right, 49er. They're taking the 49er.
I thought the same thing when I said the 49er.
And next up, we got the Bills and the Lions. The Bills are getting 2.5. This is going to be a tough one. I think the Lions, I'll have to double check, but I think the Lions are getting Taylor Decker back this week, which is huge for the offense. Skipper's been in there, and Skipper's been playing great, but he's no Taylor Decker. Like, there's a big difference between Taylor Decker and Dan Skipper. And that definitely just helps that offensive line, right? Getting a player of that caliber back. The Bills kind of suck against the run, and that's what Detroit does. Detroit runs the ball really well. You got the guys that they picked up the last week on the defense that played pretty good last week that just joined the team on Monday. Should see some improvement with them. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Lions win it by 3. So at 2.5, yeah, I'll take them to cover.
Almost sounds like a gimme, but yeah, the Lions to cover because the Bills suck. They just lost again to the Rams. All right, coin says home team.
Lions.
There you go.
Sweep. Lions on the sweep. Yeah. Did you see I didn't even notice it until just before the game, but the Lions signed Jamal Adams too. Like, now he's not the same player that he was, but
yeah,
in the limited spot, I don't mind him.
I was going to mention, like, you're like, oh, the difference between Decker and Pecker and whatever his name was. Like, I don't give a damn. It doesn't matter. This guy won't make a difference. It's just the Lions are going to win this game.
Okay. Well, Taylor Decker definitely makes a difference. So
never heard of her. Don't know what she is. Don't know what she does.
Okay. All right. It's awesome.
Don't even know what position they play.
Offensive line.
Cool.
So, he's left on the left side. He protects the blind side. So next, your Bengals are traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans. Wait a minute. I had to write this down wrong. Hold on. I gotta look at this because there's no way that this is right. So let me just
5 points. 5 point difference.
Hold on.
Or do you have more?
Hold on.
Come on.
I had just give me a second.
Come on.
Okay. Yeah. No, okay. No, for some reason I had -5 on the Titans instead of +5. That's why I was like, hold on a second. There's no way this is accurate.
Dude, like, how bonkers would it be if the Titans were that'd be one of those games where, like, okay, so they know something. like something's up.
Fix is in. The fix
And
is
yeah,
in.
I'm betting the house. I'm betting the house on the if the Bengals are getting 5 points, but that would be real nervous. I'd probably be real apprehensive. I'd be like, I don't know, man. But yeah, no. Do I go first? Or you go first. You already know who
You
I'm
go
picking.
first. You go first.
Bengals. Yeah, Bengals will cover. And then the coin says the away team. They're going Bengals too.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the Titans.
it's the Titans, but it's also the Bengals.
Yeah.
And 5 points. I mean, I'll take the Bengals.
I mean, they
I
beat the
could def
Cowboys
I
by
could
7. Who's better, the Cowboys or the Bengals or the Titans?
Titans? I don't know.
And who
A
is
coin
it's
flip?
like something we could even know. Is it
I mean, like anybody could even know that. Um, Speaking of, now we got the Cowboys traveling to Carolina to play them Panthers. The Cowboys are getting 3 points here. The Cowboys are getting 3 points. But the Panthers have been a better team here lately. That benching, I think that worked out pretty good for them, for the Bengals. Not the Bengals, the
Panthers.
Panthers. Because, I mean, Bryce Young's not playing great football, but he's playing better football. And he's not losing it for his team, right? I'm going to take the Panthers because, I mean,
What's the spread?
3.
Okay, that's what I see over here on Bovada. So yeah. All right, coin. What do you got, coin? The away team.
The
Oh,
Cowboys. Uh-oh.
I will
Coin
say
knows something
this.
you don't know.
You know, if there's a 3 point, it's so it's even money for -3 for the Panthers. It's -120 with the 3 points for the Cowboys. So that's obviously the favorite. And then, so I think it's gonna be a little bit, it's gonna be like a 1 point game or something like that. But
It
yeah,
definitely
I think the Panthers are gonna win this game, but I'm gonna say they're gonna cover. Why not?
so
Yeah, go Panthers.
what
What?
who's covering?
The
Wait,
Panthers.
the Panther. Okay, so you have the Panther. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
way
yeah.
you said the way you said that just kind of, I don't know, sounded weird. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay, Panthers. Okay,
Panthers, baby.
yeah. Last up, we were just talking about this: Steelers and the Eagles. The Steelers are getting 5.5 points, which I think is absurd.
That's absurd.
I think that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know you're supposed to go first, but I'm going first because I just rolled into it. I'm taking the Steelers in the points. Like, that seems just like a gimme. I don't know.
I dropped the coin.
Oh man.
It landed on the head, so whatever the home team is.
That's the Eagles.
Okay. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's got to be the Steelers. I mean, the Eagles were 14-point favorites against the Panthers, and they damn near lost the game. So
Yeah.
if you're going to give me almost you give me 5.5 points, and if the Steelers are as good as what they say, I'm buying into the bullshit, and they're going to cover
Hey, how about
or
this?
whatever, or win by at least that, whatever.
How about this? Hey,
Like coming in
bring
real
it,
close,
bring it in real close. Steelers just win this game,
straight up.
just straight up.
If they were in
Because
Pittsburgh, I say yes. I think,
oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
yeah,
I wouldn't even bring it in for the real thing. I would have told you that right off the bat. But
yeah.
I there's dysfunction there in Philly, and you were here when I was talking about it. But I think at the end of this season, AJ Brown gets traded away because you're not gonna. They're good. They got to get rid of one of the two, and they're not getting rid of Jalen Hurts.
No.
Because who you replacing? Unless you pull some sort of a trade like with the Rams and Lions, right? Where they traded 2 good quarterbacks, right? And so you're getting a good quarterback. You're getting like a seasoned veteran in place for your young player that hasn't quite blossomed the way that you thought he was going to on your team. If you have some sort of a trade like that, what that the Rams and the Lions had, if the Eagles find a way to, I don't know, make that trade and they get Pat Mahomes. I know they're not going to get Pat Mahomes, but
Yeah. I
you
understand what
know
you're
what I'm
saying.
saying, right?
Yeah.
It's some sort of a veteran quarterback that they feel better about over Jalen Hurts. But other than that, yeah, no, it's going to be AJ Brown's going to be the easier player to trade away and the easier player to replace. Like, you can go and draft. It's a lot easier to hit on the wide receiver in the draft than it is a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a lot easier to sign a wide receiver in the offseason than it is to sign a quarterback. Because when teams have good quarterbacks, they don't let them go to free agency.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
I mean, look at the teams who are struggling right now. They got themselves in a bad situation. They don't have a quarterback. There's no future there either. They're just like, oh, we don't know what to do. We're screwed. You're
Yeah.
screwed.
Or you just have horrible coaching. Like the fact that the Jags are as bad as they are.
Yeah.
Now, Trevor Lawrence has been injured a lot this year,
Mhm.
but before the injury, they weren't good. They've only won 3 games this season, and they've got a lot of really good talent on that team. That's
They were
all
good
on
last year.
Peterson.
Yeah.
Peterson's going to be gone. They're going to bring in a new coach there, and look for someone like a Mike Vrabel to come in there. And you get someone like a Mike Vrabel in there, that completely turns that whole franchise around. Like that team will be better coached, and they'll just be better.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, cool. Yeah. Any closing comments or anything like that before we get out of here? You run us out of here.
Fuck
You go
you,
to bed.
Kyle Pitts.
Oh Jesus.
He's dead to me.
Oh God.
Dead
All
to me.
right. All right. Jesus.
I'm just saying.
Appreciate everybody watching today. Appreciate you chiming in. If you're part of the Patreon, patreon.com/strikeout beer. $3 to get in, extra content, videos. You had a free $1 bet on the roulette wheel that
Yeah.
went down yesterday. So, but jump on over, support it.
That second year Peterson Jacksonville was good. What happened? He's not that good.
Yeah, must have got
He
lucky.
turned it around for a minute, but he's just not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why the Eagles let him go because he's just not that good. He's good he's good for a year or two because I think it might have been year 2 that he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. It was within the first few years. Um, and then he was gone. So yeah,
All right.
just I don't know. He's not that guy. Who signed him before him? Did Carolina sign him for like a minute? He didn't make it through the season, like his first year.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think so. I think so. You should look that up on your phone.
Yeah.
But you know what, guys? Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD.
Talk to you guys later. Deuces.